Okay, let's talk about 25 bold ideas. This was from the other day. I was waiting for my car for an oil change, and I was picked up a Popular Mechanics, and I saw an interesting article, 25 bold ideas for the future. A lot of these have to do with interesting ways to increase efficiency, so on and so forth. Let's go through some of these. I think some of these are really great. Vehicle start-stop. By 2012, manufacturing giant Bosch estimates half the new vehicles in Europe will be able to shut down their engines whenever they begin to idle. My car already does this. I have a Civic Hybrid, a new one, and unless there's certain situations like where my AC is turned up very high, when I come to a red light, the engine just shuts off completely. The heating and AC stay on, my radio stays on, everything works the same, just the engine shuts off. And apparently this will increase fuel economy by 8%, which if you extrapolate that out, it's a pretty big difference. Interesting. We'll see if it gets scheduled for introduction in the U.S. As of now, it's not scheduled to be. Driving on a high level. Well, road congestion gets worse all the time. There's thousands of miles of highway, the medians to be precise, that are unused. And there's a bridge engineer, Linda Figg, who says a gap just 6 feet across in the middle of highway lanes can support an elevated roadway 3 lanes wide. And they've tested this out. This can reduce in certain areas where they've done it, adding reversible lanes, reducing commutes that were normally 45 minutes to 20. I think that's an extraordinary idea. It doesn't require new real estate, land permits. It's on the existing space that the highways already have. I think it's a great idea.
Sure, I guess, in certain areas it would be, the construction costs would still, I'm sure, be pretty high, but, if it's necessary, it's necessary.
Absolutely, and they could be offset in many cases because a lot of these bridges can also carry a light rail. So you could have a T or, I guess people outside of Massachusetts might not know what the T is, a subway, a commuter rail, whatever you want to call it. Great idea. Okay, swapping out miles per gallon fuel ratings for gallons per 100 miles. So, Lewis, if I ask you real quick, if you go from 18 to 28 miles per gallon, how does that compare with going from 34 to 50 miles per gallon? Can you tell me which one is actually a better percentage change?
No, I guess not.
It takes you a little while. So the idea here is that we would replace the miles per gallon efficiency with gallons per 100 miles. So then it's very clear. We can compare. We're going from 5.5 gallons per 100 miles to 3.6 gallons per 100 miles. That's a savings of 2 gallons every 100 miles. And I guess in Europe, a lot of ratings are already common. I think it's a good idea. This isn't a thing that's really going to make a big change to the environment, but it'll at least make it much clearer when we talk about efficiency standards to talk about how much of a change is there really in efficiency.
Right. I don't think it would be too hard to put just a small meter like that in every car's computer that you can see on your dashboard.
No, and many cars already have a miles per gallon meter. Doesn't seem like it'd be too difficult to change it to gallons per 100 miles. Okay, better airlines. We've talked a couple of times off air, Lewis, about how the speed that we can travel at right now by airplane is in great part limited, or at least the practical speed, by how much fuel is wasted once you go above this kind of 530 mile per hour limit. Changing planes from the tube with wings to more of a one big wing, and the wings are kind of larger and connected to the fuselage, I guess is the next thing in aviation. And that to me would be an interesting thing to see, especially if we can start to travel faster, wasting even less fuel. And I know, Lewis, you're a big traveler. That would probably be a big advantage to you.
Yes, it'd also be interesting to see how they deal with turbulence.
It would be interesting. And apparently
what I mean?
the seats that would have to be on the wing would feel a lot of G-force during turns, according to this article.
Very interesting. Have to avoid those.
All the time we have this week. Thanks for listening. MidweekPolitics.com is the website, and we'll be back with more next week.